Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Raiders. Your Sports Uncovered podcast is all about Gruden. So let's hit that right here. You spoke to a whole bunch of people, including Gruden himself, about him, who he is, and what makes him tick. So I'll give you the floor here on that subject matter for a big, huge game for the Las Vegas Raiders against the Chiefs on Sunday night.
It is a huge game. And coincidentally, I spoke to Gruden, and we did his interview right after he beat the Chiefs at Kansas City earlier in the season. So he's in a great mood.
Driving the bus around Arrowhead, driving the bus victory lap,
Yeah, we talked about the extra mileage and so forth. But he was in a really good mood. But, you know, he always is. I've known him because we worked on Monday Night Football together on ESPN for a while. So it was a good conversation. And it was really, I think the most interesting stuff is going back to the trade that night after the Tuck Rule game loss where he was traded to Tampa Bay. And it was a really interesting look into the whole thing. And the other guy I talked to that I found fascinating was Derek Brooks and what the transition was like to have Tony Dungy leaving Tampa and John Gruden coming in, and what Tony told him. Because everyone was really sad to see Tony go. The players loved him. They couldn't believe it. And what Tony told him and then what John Gruden said when he came in is really, really interesting to see how that team then winds up in a Super Bowl against the Oakland Raiders. So it's a fascinating story. We talked to a bunch of people, and it's hopefully you'll find it entertaining.
Yes, and that's the Sports Uncovered podcast where all podcasts can be acquired. What's the scoop right now, best you can tell, about the defenses in practicing, right?
It's crazy.
For the Raiders.
It's really wild. And, you know, I've talked to guys who have been homebound when they've been on that COVID list and what that's like. And really, it's difficult because one of the things they can't do is go in and get their usual treatment, you know, get stretched out, get their massage, get their chiropractic, whatever. They've got to stay home. And so that whole week, they are on the Zoom meetings, and then, you know, something will get pushed to their iPad, the film of practice, and they'll watch practice that way. And then, you know, they get on the floor and stretch themselves, do some foam rolling, and that's what they do. And then they come back in. The one silver lining, I'm told, is if they are cleared to play Sunday, their bodies have been well rested, and they're really fired up to play. And that's about the only silver lining to this. But it's right at this point, and we're talking to them later today, we don't know exactly, and I don't even think they know who's going to be eligible on Sunday.
It's crazy, Michelle.
I know.
And I know everybody's got to roll with punches, and you know, you were going to have a Raiders game on Sunday night against Tampa, but that had to get moved because of COVID, and you wound up with the game of the year pretty much to date with Seattle and Arizona. One, we saw two last night, but you know, I know you got to roll with punches, and the Raiders have been rolled by the league, you know, for COVID violations. Putting it all together, now you got to take on the Chiefs coming off of a bye week where they're pissed. I mean, they are pissed about that bus ride around Arrowhead. You know, I think they really are.
They didn't like that very much. And, you know, like you said, rested and with just so many offensive weapons. And, you know, so this is tough when you take a defense that hasn't been able to be on the field together. And I was talking to Jeff Heath last night, and he said, look, there is no replacement for being on the field for practice and going through that, you know, that game speed with your teammates. And so as much as they're going to try and overcome all of this, you know, they're at a disadvantage. There's just no question. They do have the home field, but they're facing a not very happy opponent.
No, and they're the only team to have beaten Kansas City. I mean, there's so many, you know, intangibles, as if Kansas City doesn't already have, you know, a monopoly on the tangibles, you know.
Right.
That and the fact that you can't even practice with your starters is significant. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.